Welcome back to Houzz TV Live. I'm Rick Spence. With me today is Andrea Martoccia-Fava in beautiful Palm Beach County in South Florida. So this is kind of a really interesting project. So this is some clients you worked with in Pittsburgh, and they had found you in Florida originally on Houzz, and then you guys sort of like reconnected. And this is an amazing house. Give me a little background on this house and what you did here.
Absolutely. So this house was a 100-year-old home that they've lived in for the past 20 something years. They've raised their kids there. It's very special part of Pittsburgh. And they wanted to just kind of reinvigorate the spaces that they use and love the most. It's beautiful. It's got tall ceilings in some rooms, stained glass, lots of fireplaces and brick and a garden and a koi pond. And it's just a very, very, very special property.
What was the main thing they want to work on initially?
Yeah, so the homeowner, she has incredible style. She's very fashion forward and elegant. She loves to cook and entertain. You know, we started with the kitchen because number one, it's the heart of the home, and it's number two, the space that they love to use the most. So I had to think, how do I incorporate her fabulous style, but also not make the kitchen feel like it was just not in touch with the rest of the home. So I felt that it was very important to bring in warm woods and kind of historical colors. So that's where that green ended up coming in. When you look at the before pictures, her range was pushed into this little corner, and she had the sink in front of the big bay window. And I thought, how do I get this range just so much bigger so she can really cook for everybody? And so we moved in front of the window, and that was one of the hardest selling points in the designs that I gave them. And they really trusted the vision. And you walk in, and when she's even seeing her cook there, I had the pleasure of getting a home cooked meal from them in the kitchen. She's standing at that range, and you're just looking out in that beautiful garden. So that is probably one of my favorite features, with that gold hood in front of the window. When you go into a lot of these older homes, you see a lot of brass details, even metals that have patinaed over time. And so right now, of course, it's all shiny and new, but you'd notice with the hardware and the gold sink and the gold hood, my hope is that they begin to age and warm up with time, so they really feel like they've been there much, much, much longer than they have.
And then the beautiful countertop, even the little bit of gold tones in the countertop. Let's jump into the countertop.
Okay, so the countertops are a quartzite cristallo, and they are luxurious. The waterfall edges just finish off the spaces, keep everything light, bright, and open, feels warm and not too new.
Now, with a 100-year-old home, were there things you absolutely wanted to keep or reuse, or anything about the home that was like, okay, this is something we want to keep?
I would say the only thing that we were really, really set on keeping in this kitchen were the windows and doors. And, you know, there wasn't a lot of space for wall cabinetry, so we had to get creative there. I mean, those views of that garden and these beautiful casement windows, we weren't going to mess with that. So that was very important to keep. I guess the only thing that we didn't move in the kitchen was the refrigerator and freezer. Those Sub-Zeros were in that location previously. And when you're in this very formal dining room that has stained glass ceilings that are soaring, you can see right into these two double doors into the kitchen where the refrigerator and freezer are. That is your view from this very formal historic dining room. So I came up with the idea to have panels made for the front of them that looked more like windows, and we put mercury glass mirror, antiqued mirror behind them. The pattern in the previous kitchen and dining room was that lattice pattern. It was real wood planks with a purple and green slate. And I love the pattern on the floors. That was one of my most favorite features of the previous kitchen. So I actually said, let's keep the pattern, let's pull up the slate and try to fill in the gaps when we take down the walls, keep the wood, because the wood tied in perfectly with the wood of the family room and the other portions of the home that you kind of lead into those spaces. And so I said, let's keep it. Why do we have to totally change it? We'll just put new tile in. Weren't able to save the wood, unfortunately. So we wanted to just keep that essence alive. And so we just recreated it with a wood look tile that was very rich and warm and tied in the other wood elements of the home.
Tell me about the ceiling in there.
The ceiling is my favorite. It is a high gloss lacquered white pearl ceiling, and the light dances off of it truly. We love the way that when the chandeliers are turned on, it reflects and makes this beautiful like star pattern in the ceiling. It was a hard sell, I guess you could say, because it did take a lot of work to get it to be what it is today. But I think the paint contractors really nailed it and brought our vision to life.
That's got to be an amazing kitchen to cook in with so much natural light. The reflection, I mean, it's just so bright and immediately gives you energy.
When those chandeliers come on, it really is kind of like the icing on the cake, the jewelry to the outfit, if you will.
Let's go to that far side, which is just a beautiful place to hang out. You got the windows on both sides. Tell me about that and why that need for kind of like those two different islands.
When we decided to take down the wall in our design planning phase between the kitchen and the dining room so it felt bigger, I was challenged with the idea, do I do one massive long island and work with seams in the countertop? And then how does that function with lots of people in the house? So we decided to split the islands in two and separate them a good bit. So you have your working station and your entertaining station. And they sit around the island with those comfy oversized bar stools and have dinner all the time now. And it looks out to the garden and out to the street and then leads you into the family room. So I wanted it to feel like it didn't go from kitchen to dining room. I wanted it to feel like one big kitchen. So that's why we duplicated the island again, basically with the same cabinets, the same countertop material, and the same lighting.
That's really nice. And also it's a little easier for the traffic pattern. You don't have to go all the way around the big island. You can kind of like, it's a little cut through, right? Tell me about the wood on the island.
So we went with a cherry wood with a custom stain for the islands. Again, because I felt that we needed to make sure we were giving justice to the home and some of those cherry stains that you would find throughout the house that have been there for 100 years.
Really nice. That's a great space. Okay, so if they're not spending all their time in the kitchen, they've got the living room. And I understand they're like big sports fans. Before it was just so dark.
Especially because they are sports fans and they love to entertain and Sunday football. They had this TV, this tiny little TV over the fireplace, and they would have parties to watch football. And I thought to myself, this is not doing the size of the room or how they like to live their life justice. So we flipped the room around so that we could get them that big, massive TV, but still in an elegant way. And it was a great opportunity to revisit the design of the fireplace, which we totally changed. And we lightened the room up so drastically by painting everything white. We kept the cherry wood floors that were existing in the family room, living room space because we really wanted to keep that historical feel, but we needed to brighten the walls up. So we went all white on the walls, and that was our tie-in to the kitchen. You know, there's a lot of bright white in the kitchen, and then the warm floor elements really help bring it all together and cozy it up. We use the same color white on the built-in that we did in the kitchen. So that was a great tie-in. And then the gold accents as far as the funky hardware that has, you know, a little pizzazz to it. The coffered ceiling was existing. Other than that, the can lights were there. We added that fabulous chandelier before there was something a little darker, didn't put off a lot of light. So different layers of lighting, I think, definitely helped brighten the space up. Lamps and table lamps and floor lamps and the can lights and the sconces on the bookcases and the chandelier, I think, totally illuminated the room.
That's a great little corner over there.
Yeah. So they already had a table there. And she said that's where they would sit and have maybe a dinner if it was just the two of them, or a great place for a little happy hour, or even to sit during the day with a cup of coffee and your computer catching up on work. So they used that format there. So I did not want to get rid of it. I think when something's working for a family and it's something they use and enjoy, you can just make it a little bit better. You don't have to get rid of it.
Let's go into some of your choices in this space in terms of the furnishings and the material and how you balance the textures and colors in the space.
So in the family room, we really wanted a cozy feeling. That fireplace comes on and you just want to cuddle on a sofa. So we went with a family-friendly fabric, and that's how we were able to do it in such a beautiful light color. It is oversized and deep seating, and you just want to sit down and watch a movie in front of the fireplace or read a book. I really also wanted to have one little dramatic pop in there. And so when we found that area rug, I just thought it was the showstopper in the way, because it grounds the room. It brings in a little bit of a modern feel, but it's just neutral enough that will stand the test of time. Always need a little glam in every room. And so the coffee table was a fun one to bring that element out. We used a mirrored coffee table, and it really tied in with the mirrored elements we used in the kitchen, like in the bar backsplash and the refrigerator panels. So we did this antique glass coffee table, and it reflects everything.
Really nice. I love the grass cloth on the wall too. It adds a serious cozy factor.
I also have this weird thing about TVs sticking out too much. I mean, listen, we all watch TV. It would be silly to like try to pretend that you're not going to have a TV in a family room, right? So how can you put something massive like that on a wall, but camouflage it a bit? And so that was the choice for the black grass cloth.
Did you have to refinish any of the wood? The wood looks like it's in really good shape.
The wood floors were refinished with a slightly different stain. They were existing to the home, but previously, the way that they had their sectional across the back wall, there was actually like a built-in that went halfway, like a knee wall type, and it jutted out like a peninsula by the little staircase landing in the back corner of the room. And so when we took that out, we had to fill in the floors and have them refinished. Knowing these clients well at this point, it's a little bit easier to design for them and make sure that they're comfortable in the space the way they like to live.
How did you guys collaborate? Like, you were in Florida most of the time. She's in Pittsburgh. How did that work?
We just communicated really, truly through Houzz a lot. You know, every faucet, every handle, every light fixture is uploaded. There's many options. We can have discussions just based on that item. And it really makes the communicating so much easier when there's just one place to go. We're not fishing through text messages and emails. And so especially when you're doing a project from a distance, you have to have everything in line. What's truly saving me the most time with Houzz Pro and the commenting features that have been integrated into this new, better and more improved version actually comes down to my team. So a lot of us still work remotely. We have a few of our designers in the Central Florida area and a few of our designers in the South Florida area. And what we're able to do is communicate seamlessly through Houzz internally as well, which saves me so much time as kind of the one wearing all the different types of hats. So if a client leaves a comment saying, you know, Alexia, what size is this ottoman? I didn't see this detail. Or Andrea, can I see this in a different fabric color? Somebody else on our team can respond maybe even faster than I can. Or I don't have to then push that message out to somebody and delegate a task. It can be instantly handled if we're all on the same page.
All right. So you got time for another space?
Sure, absolutely.
All right. Tell me about the bedroom.
So when we were thinking about updating the main areas of the space and the spaces they love and live in the most, the main bedroom was one of the homeowners' priorities. And so we painted all these beautiful paneled walls, a lighter color. And it's really cool because when you look at that headboard wall, there are closets. On the left side of the bed, you have his closet. On the right side, you walk into her dressing room that we added new wallpaper to, which then leads into her bathroom. But when those doors are closed, it just looks like a beautiful paneled wall. So we kept that, just updated the bed with this dark, rich navy velvet upholstered bed, added these really fun lamps, and we put a gold cork wallpaper on the ceiling to really just accent that chandelier that we picked out.
Oh, how nice is that? And that must be so quiet in there because you got the cork, and it just must be you go in there and all the noise just goes.
It's a calming space. It feels a little to me, or how I wanted the overall feeling to be in the space was like boutique hotel. Like, you go into these historic hotels, but the rooms are updated and they're very boutique-y. That was the vibe we were going for.
You totally nailed that. If you were to show me this picture, I'd be like, where is this place? Can I book this place? Right? I mean, that is just so nice.
Velvet headboard, velvet curtains. We did two recliners, like tilt back recliners that are a combination of velvet and leather. So they could sit and have their coffee in the morning and watch the news and just feel cozy.
I like the idea that you can get out of bed and you get your own little space. They each get a bathroom.
Yes, isn't that fantastic? His and her bathroom.
That is such a luxury. I just love your work and everything you've done, and you bring such a joy to your designs, and I'm sure the homeowners benefit from that. It must be a great experience working with you. So congratulations on everything, and let's do it again.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.